Hi, welcome to holisticinvestment.in YouTube channel.
Welcome to the Financial Planning course on Financial Planning 101, a roadmap to achieve your financial goals. In this session, we are going to see a very interesting stories of three people. So here, I want you to pay attention to this story and share your opinion in the comment section so that I can know what you're thinking about these three stories. So let's go to the first story. The first story is about Mr. Hari. Mr. Hari was a senior engineer in a well known company, and his annual income alone rupees 10 lakh. Obviously, with this money, Mr. Hari can live a peaceful life. But Mr. Hari wanted to stand alone among his peers. So, to prove himself, he compared himself with others. Let's say he began to compare himself with his friends. He compared his financial status with his colleagues and his neighbors. Can you guess what happened? Of course, when you compare yourself with others, then you will automatically want to show yourself as equal to others. That is what Mr. Hari did. So, as soon as he saw that his friend bought a new house in the main city, he bought a new house at the same place. And when he saw that his new neighbor bought a new expensive car, he also bought one. Then he randomly began to spend most of his money in a branded things. Of course, to run along with the society, he must wear something related to brand. Without brand, you cannot be famous in this world. Then the one more reason that attracted Mr. Hari was the so-called sales, the trick behind the trending market. So sometimes we think that if we saw something on offer, we will think that, oh my God, it's a huge offer, right? But unfortunately, it is not. It is a dead trap because this offer may or may not relevant to you or useful for you. So instead of saving his money, Mr. Hari spent all his monies and savings lavishly in an expensive and luxurious items. So that is when the unimaginable thing happened. In 2020, COVID affected our country. So because of that, in 2020, most of the people were either lost their jobs or had a salary cut. In Mr. Hari's case, he had a salary cut. Can you guess what happened then? Yes, actually, before this salary cut, Mr. Hari was paid two-thirds of his income as EMI. Now, after salary cut, Mr. Hari cannot pay his bills regularly and he need to take care of his family and their health. But the thing is, he didn't have enough money to manage all these things. That is the story of Mr. Hari. Where did he make the mistake? And do you think he could avoid this in some other way? Please share your opinion in the comment section. Now, let's move to the second story. The second story is about Mr. Sai. Mr. Sai is a senior design engineer who is working in Kuwait for so many years. So one day, the company he was working for decided to lay off some employees. And unfortunately, Mr. Sai was also one of them. Just imagine, after working for so many years, how would you feel if you suddenly lost your job? And let me tell you, this is the worst case situation that no NRIs wanted to experience in their life. So after lost his job, Mr. Sai felt very depressed. So he decided to look for a new job that can pay him equal to his previous jobs. Do you know what happened next? He started to looking for a job for almost 6 months. During these days, he got a job, but he was not satisfied with the salary packages because they paid him very less compared to his previous jobs. So during these days, he stopped providing his family. Also, he started to pay off his home loan EMIs from his investments. Now, this is his situation in Kuwait. But on the other hand, his family also suffered in India because he stopped providing his family. So, after a deep thought, Mr. Sai decided to return to India. So, after a long thought, Mr. Sai decided to return India. Well, this was one more reason. The another reason was compared to Kuwait, the cost of living is very less here. So, after return to India, Mr. Sai decided to look for a new job here. He thought, at least, I can get a well-paid job here, right? To his surprise, it didn't happen for a long time. He he became a jobless for almost 10 months. And during these days, he began to use all his savings in India. He totally lost his confidence. And questions began to pop up in his mind randomly. He thought, what if I didn't find a job at all? Almost half of my liquid assets are used. How am I going to pay off my loans? I cannot lose all my savings on this. Should I take personal loan? How am I going to take care of my family? Just like that, he began to worry. So he began to stress himself and he fall in depression. So during this time, he forgot one more very important thing. Do you know what it is? After return to India, he didn't have any insurance coverage, whether it is a life insurance or medical insurance. So just imagine if suddenly something happened to him, who is going to take care of his family? How his family can manage all their financial troubles? After all, he is the father of two children. So if something happened to him, who will take care of them? Do you think his wife alone can manage all these financial problems alone? No, right? So let's put this situation aside. And to return back to the story, as for Mr. Sam, he became jobless for almost 10 months. So at last, due to his financial problems, he decided to accept a job. Here, the keyword is accepted. He didn't get any job that he deserved. Instead, he accepted a job that paid him very less compared to his previous salary. So, here I want to ask you a question. So, what went wrong here? Do you think he could have found a better paying job if he stayed in Kuwait? Please share your opinion in the comment section. I will let you know the answer later. Now, let's move on to the third story. This third story is about Mrs. Saranya, who is a widow with two children. Here, let me tell you a few things about them. Mrs. Saranya's husband was passed away in an accident a few months back. Her husband was a bank officer who is working in a private bank, while Mrs. Saranya was working in a private company. They both contribute the same to their family. But one day, her husband left her alone with her two children. You know the feeling when your loved ones passed away, there is no one can replace them. And that is how Mrs. Saranya also felt. She felt like a lost puppy. She didn't know what to do next. She didn't know how she is going to manage her financial life. She didn't know how to raise her two children alone. But to her surprise, her husband planned everything beforehand. Before passing away, her husband managed to invest some money in fixed deposit, mutual fund, and he also had life insurance to secure his family. Of course, she was very lucky, but she's not that lucky at the same time because while her husband planned everything, he didn't involve her in a financial planning. So, you know what happened then? Because of that, when she came to know about all this investment after her husband died, she didn't know what to do because She didn't know any investment details, login details, or passwords, or how many investments her husband managed to invest. So even though he planned everything, now she felt like it was a mess. She didn't know how she is going to clear all this. But luckily, after a long walk, she managed to recover many investment details and passwords with the help of her relatives and friends. Now just imagine, what if her husband didn't plan everything? At least her husband managed to invest some money. But what will happen if he didn't do that? Can you imagine? Without her husband's contribution, do you think she could have managed everything alone? Now, you may wonder why I'm telling you all these three stories. Because I have my own reasons. You may think that these three stories are someone's imagination, but the truth is, it is not. They happen in someone's real life, and who will know? They might happen in someone's real life itself. Here, in these three stories, they taught us something very valuable that can help us in our financial life. Mr. Hari's case, he could have achieved his financial goals without any trouble if he had a financial planning. But he focused on social life. That is why when he met a crucial situation like COVID pandemic, he couldn't manage. So if he had a financial plan, he may overcome it without any struggle because proper financial plan can help you to overcome any crucial situation. It can give you a rights to make your own decision during the crucial times like this. And in Mr. Sai's case, he could have stayed in Kuwait and found a better paying job if he had an emergency reserve planning. So here, this is where he made a mistake. Now, in Mrs. Saranya's case, it could have reduced her financial burdens. It could have reduced her stress if her husband involved her in a financial planning. So here I want to ask you a question. So what will you do if you put yourself in these three stories? Do you think you could have managed to overcome all these financial struggles? And are you involving your spouse in a financial planning? Please share your answer in the comment box. Here, you may think having a financial planning will not make any difference. But the truth is, of course, it can make a difference. As you noticed earlier, all these three characters were well settled in their life, but having no proper financial planning become a burden to them. So having a financial planning in your life is like having a GPS. You know, when we are going to a new place, we will usually use Google Map to guide us because it can give us a more number of options to reach our destination because it can guide us to give a traffic free route as well as a shortcut to reach our destination. So here financial planning is also like that. A right financial planning can help you to reach your destination without any struggle. See you on the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Thank you.